what's up, good people? Welcome to another episode of Phoned. This episode is all about the Ftec-1 by Foam Technician. I gotta be honest with you guys, I have been putting off recording this video about the Ftec-1, even though I know I mentioned at least a couple of times that I was going to put out a review. And the reason why is because I honestly have not enjoyed my experience with the Ftec-1. And I'm talking about all the way throughout the assembly, especially the assembly actually, and then finally using this. And yeah, so you know, the more I thought about making this review video, the more angry I got because I don't enjoy the Ftec-1. I'll be honest and I'll just say that up front. So TLDR for all of you who don't want to sit all the way throughout this video, I do not like the Ftec-1. Okay, let's carry on. I got the Ftec-1 sometime late last year. I think it was like in October 2020. Now, I was drawn to this because of the design, because of the way it looked. Aesthetically, I think it looks really cool. Even till now, being honest, I think that the design is just awesome. Yeah, guys, it's just a personal preference kind of thing, but I think that the design just looks awesome. I love the way it looks, and that was actually the biggest reason why I got it. Now, the next biggest reason why I got it was because at that point of time, I had already invested in half-length mags because of the links, but I never experienced what it was like to own a blaster with a mag in the grip, and it promises to hit rather hard. It was promising like 200 FPS or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So that's the reasons why I got it. I purchased the files, that was about like $30 US, and then I purchased the hardware, that was like $60 US. And so $90 US translates to roughly about 130-ish Singapore dollars. So this thing, it's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. It's quite okay, you know, in terms of price. Now, Snowy actually received this hardware and he prepped his prints while I was waiting for my hardware to arrive. So I paid him a visit at his place and decided to watch his progress on his own Ftec-1 build. And well, needless to say, he was struggling quite bad. Well, quite bad is an understatement, honestly. Basically, yeah, there was a lot of tolerance issues. That was the biggest gripe. I saw him spend a lot of time trying to make sure everything fits. He was sanding stuff, he was just expanding screw slots and everything. And after watching him, I was thinking, am I gonna go through the same kind of struggle as well? So I guess you can tell where this is going. I got it printed and I received my hardware, and then I started to assemble it, and I gotta say that assembling was the most unpleasant experience I've had so far assembling a 3D printed blaster. Now I gotta say that the hardware, I think the hardware, certain parts of the hardware are awesome. For example, I think what Foam Technician did with the brass barrel, that's really cool. Honestly, it looked like a really beautifully milled piece of brass, but it's just two brass sizes kind of glued in together, and then he chamfered it. I thought that was really well done. But the biggest problem was expanding the screw slots. Now I kind of learned by already watching Snowy beforehand. So the first thing that I did was to test out every single screw slot, and I realized that every screw slot was too tight. So what I did was I used a single screw from the hardware kit and used that to start to expand every single screw slot. But therein lay the first problem. I realized that the hardware that was provided was not of the best quality. Now, the screws were breaking on me. Like seriously, I could screw in a screw, and then when unscrewing it, the whole screw would just warp. Like it would warp. Like I don't know how else to explain it. I think I took pictures of it. I'll try to put a picture on screen if I actually did take the picture. Now, I just, you know, in my mind, I think I did. So that was a huge time waster. The next part that really got me good was the stock, the bars of the stock. Now the bars, I don't know, man. Like, I know that there are some other local nerfers that didn't really have much of a problem with the arms and the slots here on the blaster itself, but man, guys, this, yeah, the arms just, okay, to be fair, I don't know whether it was the arms being too wide for the slots or the slots being too narrow for the arms. So I'm just gonna assume that it's just tolerance issues here. And this opens up another layer of problems where I don't own a 3D printer. So this is gonna be a problem faced with people who don't own their own 3D printers. You have to commission someone to get your prints done. Now, the thing is, you're not able to check and test the tolerances when someone else is printing your files for you. So that itself was a problem. I already had all of this printed. I bought this filament. It's a beautiful azure filament. I have this darker filament here. This is the gentleman's gray filament. And yeah, because I don't own a 3D printer, I don't have a reason to stock up on filament colors. So that basically tells you why I did not buy more than one roll of each color, and, or I should say one spool of each color. One roll, one spool. But yeah, I didn't buy more than one spool or one roll of each color. So that means that I'm limited in terms of the amount of prints or reprints that I could have. And I just want to make this disclaimer, right? I think it's common knowledge now, but even if you procure, say for example, another roll or another spool of a particular filament color, if it's from a different batch, you might end up with a filament color that is off. Like it just doesn't match exactly. So yeah, those are kind of like risks, and I don't know why I'm just on this ramble right now. I'm just going through all of that stressful negative space all over again. But yeah, okay, so with all of that in mind, I decided that I would try to sand down the aluminum bars for the stock, and my god, the amount of effort I put into sanding. Literally guys, I clamped these two together so I could just sand them and get them even, right? But I sanded it so hard and so much that the two bars started to merge into one. Like I took a video of that for proof, okay? So I'm not kidding guys. Oh my goodness. So yeah, just let me get all of that out of the way. All of that said and done, this thing was finally assembled. It worked quite okay, but even now this thing is just, well, I mean, it works, but it's not smooth by any means, right? And yeah, this, yeah, let me just grab a mag. Yeah, it's just your tolerance. Yeah, the assembly video mentioned that you should fire off at least like 100 shots out of this to make sure that it breaks in. Guys, I fired my fair share of shots from this thing. Firing works pretty well, right? But yeah, it's just tolerances, and those are the biggest gripes. But right from the start, it was already such a rather negative experience. I can't say such a negative experience because that's not really fair, but it was a rather negative experience, and I guess that sort of like brought over to the final product or the final result. Now, by no means is this a bad performing blaster. Of course, it can be better. Now, I did some chrony tests and I'm getting an average of about 188 FPS using Adventure Force Pro darts and of course a bamboo dart, so it's an average of 188. So that's not too bad. Let me just really quickly give you guys a firing demonstration. So I'll just fire off 2 shots in a single shot and 3 in slam fire. Yes, this thing offers slam fire. So here we go. First 2 are gonna be single shots. Now it's slam fire time. The remaining 3 darts in the mag. Here we go. In terms of performance, this is completely fine. The Ftec-1 is consistent. The Ftec-1 is quite reliable. I mean, okay, reliable in terms of the performance. I've heard of stories where Ftec-1s are breaking with usage. So reliable in terms of prints, it's because of prints, right? It's 3D printed. Like the main good thing about this is the design. I really like the design, and I also like the fact that there's this Vanguard styled breech here, so you could easily insert or remove a mag without the need to first prime your blaster. Those are really just the main good things that I feel about this blaster. It's not all that compact, even though I wanted something very compact, and it is a little bit heavy. So let's move into the gripes that I have about it. Now, I don't like the stock. It feels like it's talking this way when I lean it against my shoulder. I don't know, maybe it's just the way I'm holding it. I'm not sure, but it just doesn't feel comfortable to me. Number 2 is that, okay, this mag release is interesting, but I don't personally like it. The mag release is this button over here. And shout out to Vela, because Vela showed this really cool way of using another mag to press this so that this mag will drop out. But that also meant that his Ftec-1 has that drop mag kind of feature, but mine does not. So in order for you to remove a mag, you want to first grab your mag like this, use your thumb and push upwards. So you kind of give it like a thumbs up kind of action. And for me, yeah, it could get quite intuitive, but it's something that you need to practice. And this is just different, you know, different from many other blasters out there. And the next thing that I did not like about this is, well, one of the things that I thought would work out very well, or one of the things that I found interesting about the blaster in the first place, and that is the fact that the mag is in the grip, so it's a mag and grip style, but it's a 90-degree grip. And this to me is just really uncomfortable because I'm used to holding my blasters at an angle like that. So this is kind of like, I have to torque my wrist upwards, and this is uncomfortable to me. Like, I don't know why. It's just the size of the grip, or maybe the shape of the grip. I mean, yeah, I know there is a little bump here, but it's just very uncomfortable to me, at least to me. To be fair, this blaster was designed and created before the advent of angled mags. Next, let's talk about the vertical grip. There are multiple vertical grips available to you. The cool thing about purchasing the files for the Ftec-1 is that Foam Technician always updates those files. So if there's any new designs for any kind of accessories or any parts, you'll get them in a new download for free. Just buy the files once and you'll have access to every single update. So that's a really nice thing to have. But I chose this particular grip because it was the only one that featured a slight angle. But what I did not like, and this is something that I would not have known until I experienced it, is that I'm not used to this short of a priming length. On top of the distance, in order for this blaster to perform the way it does, it also means that it's going to be using a beefier spring. So not only, and I stress again, for me, not only is this thing very uncomfortable in terms of ergonomics from the stock to this grip, and then the length of that prime, the shorter length of that prime, but this is also going to be a tough spring to overcome. So this is one of those blasters that needs a lot of getting used to, but it's something that I constantly struggle with myself, and I'm asking myself, is this something that I want to get used to versus I have to get used to this in order to enjoy it. So now, let me push this forward and pull the trigger, and you realize that I can't fire it. Let me show that to you again, guys. Look. That's another thing that I don't like. I don't know, maybe it's the way well, basically that is it. I mean, you guys already know I don't particularly enjoy this blaster. One thing I will say is that I'm using this particular, I guess, oversized barrel design, and there is a scar barrel attachment, but I'm just not gonna do it because I don't think I'll be spending more time with this blaster, and that's in all honesty. Now, no disrespect to Foam Technician, I think the design is cool. It's just that, yeah, all the tolerance issues, the hardware issues, as well as the overall discomfort that I feel or experience every time I use a blaster is all adding up, and yeah, it just means this blaster is a no for me. But it might be a yes for you. Who knows? It might be. If you're interested, guys, in getting yourself an Ftec One by Foam Technician, make sure you check the links in the description box down below. I'll put a link to his page where you could buy the files and buy the hardware. I don't know if he still sells the hardware, and this might be for you. Shorter prime length, slightly tougher spring load, mag and grip design, pump action, slam fire, collapsible or adjustable stock. Performing on average for me, 188 FPS. And that is it. We've come to the end of this video. I appreciate you watching all the way throughout. Stay tuned for more videos, I guess. And before I end this video, I want to give a shout out to two people. First, Newbie, and second to Vince, because Newbie handed me a Worker Swift. Thank you, I'm enjoying it so far. And Vince handed me a Conquest Pro, which is surprisingly fun as well. Okay, I'm done. It's time for the outro, guys. Once again, this was the Ftec One by Foam Technician. A very good looking blaster that's not for me, but might be for you. Drills pay the bills, and teamwork makes the dream work. Peace.